Cool.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of What Drives You. Jimmy, can you believe we are past 100 episodes?
God bless, man.
Yeah. So,
Unbelievable.
special guests today. I say that about all our guests, but they're all special because they take time out of their busy days and lives to join and chat. Um, but Jim Battista, dear friend of mine, um, partner in life and crime and all that, amazing dad, and super hard, one of the hardest working people you ever meet, joining us today. So
Thank you very
thanks,
much.
Jimmy. Yeah.
Thank you.
Hey, let's start out real quick. So Jim owns a company called Road Dealer, and we'll talk about that in a few minutes. It's not a commercial, but it's what he does and what he's great at, and he's survived through lots of ups and downs. So, Jimmy, how did you get in the car business?
So, my father opened up a wholesale dealership when I was in high school, and that's basically how I started to learn the business. Uh, Pretty much closed in yard. We ended up buying cars from the auto impounds of Chicago, and I had to do everything from A to Z with those cars. So, meaning we didn't even have keys for these cars at the time. So, we didn't even know if they ran. We'd have to get the keys cut, empty the cars out because most of them were full of who knows what, and then detail them, get them ready for sale. And then we'd either wholesale them or I would put them actually on corners with for sale signs. And that's pretty much how I started in the business, 16 years old.
So you were one of the original flippers.
I guess you could call it that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I love this story, and for those of us, again, on what drives you, we our audience is mostly car industry folks, but we also try and encourage, educate, and entertain. So I think this was going to be a little bit of education here. But I love the story you told me about the Porsche uh, that you guys had, where you had to put the whole new carpet in, and that was at the
1,000 miles.
impound. Yeah,
1,000 miles stolen out of New York, Virginia, ended up at the Chicago impound, came up for auction. We bought it, probably half the price. It only had 1,000 miles on it, but the windows were down. So the car was loaded with water, mold, whatever it was. So we had to remove everything and redo the interior, meaning, like you said, the carpets. Luckily, the wiring was still in good shape. And then we ended up selling it to a friend of ours who wanted a Porsche at a reasonable price.
yeah.
So probably
And
half the
I think there's still a lot of opportunity. I mean, with Marketplace and Craigslist and all that to find the cars. I don't know if there's still the margin in the flipping like you guys were able to buy them because those cars were so unknown that you were buying out of a pound. It was a huge risk, but you probably
and the
got
difference was that there was not a ton of people able to get into these. It was a closed sale. So that was the beauty of it. Yes, we didn't have keys, but the deals were tremendous. So it made sense. You take one car and it's a loser out of 100, you're in the black every single time. I mean, it
yeah,
was a run every time. It was awesome.
yeah.
And it was
That
fun.
was a fun one. And my car, for those of you who live in Chicago area, like Jim and I, who had their car towed, and you've been to that pound or those pounds where you got your car and you see, like I had my beater old Datsun B210 wagon towed from a job where I literally parked, ran in, came out, it was gone. But all my worldly possessions were in this thing, Jim. They were all picked through I mean, they say right on there when you get to the lot, to the pounds, we're not responsible for blah blah blah. But thankfully, I
Well,
didn't have anything super valuable in there.
and the reason why they say that is everybody says that they had laptops and cash and everything else. So
Diamonds.
too bad. But yes, 100%. It was frowned upon. There was cameras everywhere. I don't know. The city was very strict on that because they were towing so many cars every single day. So I know they were heavily secured when it came to people's cars and belongings being in the pound. Now, once it goes up for auction, they could do whatever they want because the car's gone.
Yeah. Well,
So
and from where it's towed to getting it checked in, let's just say those guys who are making that transportation might not have been the most honest people in the
Right.
world.
But we did find a lot of stuff in those cars too.
Yeah.
So which one that we're not going to talk about on this.
Yes, let's not. But so let's fast forward a little bit. So you're doing the flipping, and then you get hooked up with a retail lot up in north of Chicago. So tell us about
So
that learning.
let's back up a little bit.
Okay.
So after buying from the city impound of Chicago, we ended up forming a relationship with another suburb that we would buy out of that towing company as well. Well, we became really good friends with them because it was a small towing company that did all of the streets and sand towing for this village. That individual who owned that towing company ended up buying a tire wheel. Pretty much it was a dealership, but they wanted to put tires and wheels in it because they already owned a tire and wheel business, but they didn't know the auto industry. So they knew I was in the business. Now, fast forward, this is probably 5 or 6 years later. I was 20, maybe 20, 21, 22. They wanted me to run that side of the business for them because they had no clue on how to do it. So that's how I actually learned the retail side of the business. Meaning the dealership they bought was a Chrysler dealer at one point in time, turned into a used car lot, wheels, tires, service, the whole shot.
Right. And
So that's
it's
how I learned finance, auctions, and all the other
reconditioning, license and title, all the rest. Yeah.
everything.
All
Yes.
the inner workings.
Advertising, the whole, pretty much the whole front end of a car dealership.
And why we're kind of filling in the gaps here, giving context to this, because all these learnings and experiences, well, one, you get a PhD in the auto business when you have to do it all yourself, right? I had the same PhD at my lot and my dealership because there's no one else to do it. You got to do it. But though all those learnings and experiences and day-to-day practices turned into an idea. So give us, and I know you and I have talked about this many times, and I love this story every time I hear it, but when you started going to the auction, you started to see a pattern, and then this idea was birthed in your brain. Tell us about that.
100%. So the closest auction to our dealership was Milwaukee. It was 52 miles away. Every Wednesday we were there. But my main expense at the dealership was auction fees and pretty much losing the money you lost on the cars you brought back there to sell. So that's pretty much how Road Dealer was born. I said, well, we're buying cars from dealerships that are in our area. Plus, I did buy direct from Schaumburg Honda, Fields Infinity. They'd call me every Friday. I got a list. I'd walk in the store, check the cars out, pick 5 or 10 of them, give them a check, and it was done. So that's pretty much how Road Dealer was born. I figured let's create a network where we can have franchise dealerships approved independents be able to buy and sell from each other, eliminating all the fees and build the relationships with each other.
Well,
And
I
that's
love the yeah, no, great idea, great concept, great efficiency, and the collaboration of what Road Dealer has become is also an amazing thing. But I love, and I think let me give you my memory of it, and then you can color in when you would go, because just anyone who's not in the auto space, when you go to the auction, it's just rows and rows of it. It's super fast, super high energy, and it's just moving because they're trying to sell 1,000, 2,000 cars in a day. Well, when you're there, sometimes the seller will be there and you see that person and you recognize them. You go, oh, he's from Schaumburg Honda. But a lot of times they're not there, or it's their wholesale person who you don't recognize and you don't know. So you don't know when you're bidding on a car or you buy a car who sold it until you get the ticket. So I love the fact that you said you saw this pattern. You're buying these cars and they're from a dealership that's literally 2 blocks from you. So that person took the time to ship the car up there 52 miles, pay the fees, wait for it to sell week 2, 3, whatever it took. And then you had to pay the fees and ship it freaking back. And you could have just connected 2 blocks away from each other
Right.
and exchange cars. That's
Plus, if we didn't retail it, now I'm sending it back. So I already paid the buyer's fee. Now I'm paying a seller's fee and
yeah,
two shipping fees.
yeah.
It never made sense to me. Which I think the fees at that time were 200 to 250 a car, where now they're 1,000 to 1,500 a car, which is never would have thought that 10 years later, 15 years later. But yeah.
So basically, tell me what road dealer is. And this is
But
we'll do a little.
let me backtrack to the auction real quick.
Yes, yes.
The one thing that really triggered me, that pissed me off more than anything, was I got jacked by the auctioneers, and I watched it happen real time. And I'm like, this is insanity. What are we doing?
Okay. Well, for those of us who aren't in the biz, what does jacked by the auctioneer mean?
I wasn't bidding against anybody. They were basically making it up, and I caught them.
Yeah.
So that's when I realized this is insanity,
Well,
especially.
again, for those of you who are new, and you may have seen this if you watch, Barrett Jackson online or Meekum, they always start high. Well, if you just walked in the room or walked down the lane and you're like, oh, that's the bid, thinking that someone actually bid that, you might go 10-5, 10 grand they hit yet when the car's really worth five, right? So a lot of times that's the start, right? And then the reality is when someone actually places a bid. But to Jimmy's point, you don't have 360 vision and you don't see, and especially now they have online bidders. So you don't even know, there could be some robot sitting there going 100. You don't even know what you're paying. So I always tease people like, oh, you won the bid. You're the biggest loser, right? Because you paid the most.
Yep,
So yeah,
100%.
crazy stuff. All right. So you're there, you're learning, you're frustrated, and this idea becomes a business. And that's where Carl and Jimmy met. How long ago was that?
2010.
2010. So
Yeah,
six.
the end of 2009.
Okay. So 16
You're in all the
years
offices.
ish, 16 years ish. What has, give us the 30-second pitch. What is Road Dealer? And where do you stand today in regards to the business of wholesaling, exchanging of cars, and acquisition of cars?
So, Road Dealer is a network of member dealers that allow the technology to post their aged and wholesale inventory for other members to be able to buy directly from them. Also, we have a feature to allow dealerships to get buy figures on unwanted trades, which then allows the buyers to buy fresh trades from other dealerships as well, which I think is one of the key components because now you're making deals. You're not just liquidating your aged units and blowing money. So that is the differentiating factor. It's real time,
So
60 seconds, where it pushes out a fresh trade that a dealership doesn't want to everybody. And now they're getting bids on that trade so they could structure their deal and they already have an exit strategy for that car. Minute one.
yeah, and I use this is personal experience just to give a little testimonial. Um, I ran a Nissan dealership in the Chicago area, and we had hired Jimmy's service to be utilized by my used car manager. He just was not a fan of it, the extra work that he thought and all the effort. So I said to him, his name was also Jim. I said, Jim, let me handle the road dealer process for a bit as a general manager. So we had a Chevrolet truck, a really late model, newer truck with really low miles. A guy was closing his business and had these trucks and just was liquidating this last week. Hey, I'm not here to buy a car. I just want to sell this. So we had a sister store, a Chevy store. I called this store and said, hey, here's the car. It's perfect. It's super low miles. You guys should give me the moon, right? And he bid $20,000 if memory serves. It's the spread more than the number that matters in this story. And I go, okay, $20,000, I'll put you down. So I went on Road Dealer, put in the number, and sent it out to the community, right? It's a community of dealers who are paying attention. So they get an alert, a notification on their phone, fresh trade, buy figure, bid, right? So basically what happens is the person who's notified sees my pictures, sees the VIN, the miles, my little description in real time. So this car hasn't even come into my dealership yet, right? And they start bidding. So I start getting bids in real time, 21,000, 22,000, 23. I'm like, what? My guy owns a Chevy store, or they run a Chevy store, wasn't the owner. And he bid me 20,000. So I call him back. I go, hey, uh, Mr. Used Car Manager, what? I got bids of $23,000. Are you sure this thing's only worth 20,000? Yep, that's all I'm willing to pay. I'm like, but I'm telling you, you're going to lose this car. I have 23,000 bid. Sell it to them. So instantly, I'm telling you, this whole thing with the other bids and the communication happened within 10 minutes. I'm now at 23,000. Now, did I give 23,000 to the customer? Did I try and negotiate? I can't remember that whole piece, but it made either me or the customer an extra $3,000 in moments that no other technology can do. That's kind of my best success story with it. But that happens every day, all day with people who pay attention in your community, on your app. It's just amazing.
And the greatest part is you saw it happen because you were the one doing it.
Yeah,
So you
and guess what? No auction fees, no buy fee, no sell fee, no transportation on my part because the car's there. Customer had both sets of keys, gave me all the paperwork that he had because he bought it brand new. The only fee was for the guy who bought it from me, who ended up to be out of Wisconsin, had to drive somebody down and pick it up. I mean, that's how clean the car was. So, yeah, great product, great tool, great community. But back to the other part of my question is changes in our industry and acquisition techniques. Tell us what you've found out and learned and how you've pivoted a little bit in that.
So during COVID, obviously everything changed. Uh, Dealers couldn't make a mistake. I mean, it was just a 3 or 4 year learning curve, and we had to pretty much retool and reinvent ourselves, which is where the service to sales component came into place as well. So now we have pretty much a full acquisition for the dealership from dealer to dealer, fresh trades, and now out of service as well. So, but obviously you figure it out as you go and try to reinvent new tools to make your company and also your customers more successful along the way.
Well, Jim, 16 years through COVID, through ups and downs, through dealer groups, through, different technology changes, these platforms just when you first started, you didn't even have an app. And then I can't remember which version got the app technology, but I mean, it is just, it's a really needed community. It's a really needed tool in our industry. So, I hope people see this, learn from your tenacity, because you've had to pivot. What version are you on now? 4?
Yeah. 400, it feels like.
That's because you're the owner, operator, everything guy. So yeah, that makes it hard. But I will tell you that as it rolls out and you continue to survive through all these ups and downs, people they're so loyal to you and you service them so well that yeah, I'm excited to see the future of the service lane business and strategy, and then the community kind of mold. I know that's been about a year or so in the making, but
Yes.
really taken off.
Years.
Yeah.
But the dealers aren't only our customers now, like you just said, as you were saying that, now they're friends. So that's the beauty of it. Everybody works together and we help each other out with whatever everybody needs.
Yeah, collaborate. I always think about this in America. Like, what do we have left since we let all the manufacturing go? I know we're trying to bring some of it back, but we've got innovation and collaboration in America. Those are about the only two, priceless things we have besides time in America. So two of your things hit on that all the time. Innovation, you're always innovating, and the collaboration in the community is really cool. So, as you know, Jim,
relationships and reputation.
yeah,
Really most important key pieces
Yep.
for.
Yeah. And you've helped. You and I have done this exercise before, which is probably impossible to figure out. But the amount of money in the millions, tens of millions that you've saved dealers from not having to pay an auction fee, sell fee or buy fee is crazy. Because over 16 years, the thousands and thousands of cars that have exchanged hands with no fees. And just to be clear, you're a subscription model. Is that how you roll with Road Dealer? Yeah. So there's,
And service to sales is subscription too. So
but if I bought one car or sold one car or 1,000, it doesn't matter.
no.
Yeah. So that's the other beauty of the model is it's just a cheap date to be part of a community that can help each other, buy and sell cars. So, but Jim, as you know, because I think you've watched a few of our 100 episodes, I'm going to fire 3 quick questions at you, and then we're going to get words of wisdom with you to wrap this up. So, tell me your first car
The first car.
that you owned.
We were just talking about this the other day because a good friend of mine, I used to drive him home from high school, was a 1984 Buick station wagon.
Oh,
Best.
was
No
that?
window. We probably fit 20 people in there at some point, driving them home from school, doing donuts in the snow. And I actually forgot that I used to drive Mike home, but we were at dinner. I don't know if it was when we were in Florida or when we got back. And he's like, I love your first car because it had the back seat where it looks out the back window. And he said, I'd always sit in the back because I'd roll the window down because it was the power windows that rolled that back window down and smoke cigarettes the whole way home. I'm like, you're nuts, dude. I don't even remember any of that just because.
So hold on. Do you remember, not to spend too much time on the Buick wagon, but didn't they have different trim levels? Like they were like big cushy couches in there, and some of them had like a sky bubble glass roof.
Didn't have that. I'll tell you that
Okay.
much.
All right.
But we had a lot of fun. That's
And
for
it got
sure.
3 miles to the gallon.
Who knows? I wasn't paying for gas at the time.
All
Oh
right.
man.
So what in all these years and all the different cars, what has so far been your favorite car that you've owned?
Believe it or not, I had sometime during high school, a 1996 Audi A4 6-speed. That and I had a 94 Acura Legend 6-speed. Both were by far my favorite cars.
All right.
And I don't know why. Maybe it was because I think the Audi was my first nicer car.
Yeah.
Also had an Elante that I loved too. So, but that one somebody stole it. So, but
Cadillacs in Chicago. They're a hot property.
can't really fit too many people in the Elante. That's the only issue.
That's true. That's true. All right. So, and now third rapid fire, which these haven't been very rapid. Sorry, everybody. No budget, no price limit. What's your dream car?
Probably an Audi R8. I really
Hmm.
don't like cars because we're in the car business. Um, but that car, I remember walking into the downtown Chicago store right when they came out, and I'm like, my eyes lit up. Holy smokes. And that, I don't know what it is, but the car's pretty awesome.
They're screaming fast too, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That too.
All right. So now our final question, and Jimmy, thanks again. I'm going to put a link in the description, everybody, so you can connect. If you want to connect with Jimmy and Road Dealer. Jimmy, I can't remember. Is there a contact you thing on the website?
I believe so, but
Okay.
We could
I'll
add
put
a
your email in the link in the description as well.
perfect.
Okay. So we call this our wow question, words of wisdom. Jim Battista now tells 18, 17, 19-year-old Jim Battista, what do you wish you knew then that you know now that you tell yourself, young Jim Battista, or your son, young Jim?
Well, I'm giving him words of wisdom every day, it seems like. That is a great question. If I knew half of the things I know now. Um, I don't know. You put me on the spot here, Carl Bauer.
Or words that you live by, like you got a phrase or like never give up or
That's actually my phrase. That's what I tell him all the time. Never give up, never quit. Because I probably could have quit 200 times in the last 16 years.
yeah.
But we just kept rolling and you figure it out. Everything works out the way it's supposed to. So to give myself advice going back, that would be part of it. I probably, even though we worked from 12 years old on, I probably would have, and I don't regret any of this, but I probably would have gave up some of the partying at the time to do more work. But once again, everything molds you to the way you are now. So I
Yeah.
can't
I
really
always say, Jim, there's no bad experiences unless you don't learn from them.
100%.
If you don't learn from whatever success or failure, then it's a bad experience. That's
Yes,
all.
exactly.
So, well, cool, brother. I appreciate you taking time out. I know you're a busy man.
Buddy,
Helping all these, 400 plus franchise dealers. Oh, that was the only thing I was going to clarify. Is your community mostly independents or mostly franchise dealers?
the franchises.
Okay.
The
So,
independents are selected basically to keep the integrity of the network. I
yeah.
guess if they're connected to a franchise store, 100% automatic. But a lot of the inventory on our system is late model inventory that's already been through service. It's aged. The fresh trades that are coming in are usually late model. So we don't need to service the rock lots, I guess, if that makes sense, as of right now. That could change down the road.
Yeah.
But
It's not necessarily their target market inventory is
correct.
really more. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's the reason.
All right, my friend. Have a super day.
Thank you, brother.
Appreciate you and looking forward to what happens with your biz in 2026 and beyond.
No,
All right.
baby. Thanks,
Later,
man.
Gator.